Hi, and good afternoon, everybody. I'm Jill Troderman, the host of Feeding Your Family. And today I've got in the studio, virtually, Laurie Orso. So I'm going to read a little bit about who Laurie is. Laurie is a certified... Hi. Laurie is a certified... Hi. She's a certified Montessori guide, geographer, and yoga teacher, currently residing in the St. Louis area. For many years, Laurie lived in Santa Cruz, California, where she learned more about health and holistic foods from working in various Bay Area health industries. Laurie has set daily intentions to integrate mind, body, and spirit through a dedicated meditation practice since the late 90s, traveling to India many times to deeply immerse into the practice. She is passionate about DEI and co-creating loving, harmonious spaces for all people, children and families, including musicians, healers, artists, educators, plants, animals, and more to work for peace. With a deep love of experimental and improvisational music, Laurie is also interested in sound and healing for our overstressed modern nervous systems. As a mother of two beautiful adolescent girls, she is working steadily to bring hope, strength, balance, and wellness into the lives of her daughters and all those around. All right, welcome, Laurie.
Thank you. So great to be here.
I am so excited to have you. So today, we're going to be talking to you about why we need each other to thrive and to survive, and how it's vitally important that we do create that sacred and healthy connection. Because today, a lot of people are feeling very independent, almost lonely, you could say, in so many aspects of our lives, home life, work life, even school online. So today, Laurie, I want to really deep dive into how are our children doing? How are the parents coping with all of this? And is it reflecting on our psyches about what's going on in society? So.
Yeah, it's a big order, tall order, but I'm ready to take it on from whatever I can offer as far as my experience.
I love that. So how about we start with this? What was the key instigator that made you feel maybe concerned about our loss of interconnectedness and the need for healthy dependency?
Sure. I mean, it's kind of been a process. I feel like I first started noticing it when I had my own children, and the more and more everything became online and sort of geared towards marketing to children through iPads, and kind of when we cross that bridge from just moving from TV shows into like children holding devices into their hands, iPads, iPhones, seeing 2-year-olds in strollers with iPhones years ago, I started noticing at the same time something shift with their ability to respond to the natural environment. I started noticing parents at parks become a little more hyper fixated on helicopter parenting, trying to control so much of what their children are doing. Oh no, don't get dirty, don't touch that, or we have to do this, we have to do that. So the overscheduling started happening a lot more. I'm talking like more in the last decade and a half up into present. Especially with COVID and then the isolation that happened then, I feel like the screens were just even more rampant. Not to try to blame everything on that as far as any kind of problems in children's nervous systems. I'm not sure exactly what it is, but I've definitely noticed a significant shift, especially in the last few years, with children just not being able to ground, not being able to settle, maybe shaking more in their bodies, not able to have the same gross motor and fine motor skills that I've seen years ago. So definitely I have concerns about it. And my work that I'm bringing every day into the classroom is just helping children, meeting them where they're at and trying to show them skills so that they can calm their nervous systems down and work on those very basic skills. And our Montessori curriculum goes along with that as well. So we can talk more about that in a minute. But that's kind of where my concern is with children. And then, of course, with adults and seniors and anybody really that's facing isolation, that wants to connect but doesn't really know how. And then looking to these social media outlets and different means of connection. They can be great tools, but sometimes they become the focus. And we've become so much more independent through the years that it's almost as if we've created a taboo around dependency. We've created a taboo around it as far as, oh, it's codependency if you're dependent, or if you need somebody, or if you need a relationship or close friends or community, then you can't be independent. And our independence is good as long as it's healthy, but I feel like we've almost gotten to a point where it's almost toxic. And so that's my sort of goal with this conversation today, is just kind of to look at that and see, like, how can we reverse that a little bit, reverse that story, and just look to more ways to like increase the healthy dependency that we all need so that we can thrive.
I love that. So really you're making a very strong correlation, and I think almost every one of us in society has seen it, the link to technology, that it's a blessing on so many levels, but really what you're saying is that it's really creating a lot of this dysregulation, this inability to self-soothe, to connect to our loved ones. Like, we're replacing that. It's a false connection to each other.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, there's so many studies and on just like from this 1960s until the present moment of like how our connection has reversed, from like connecting with community, churches, friends,
right,
through all these different means, and to like versus like online connection. And now it's like it's completely reversed. So much happens online.
It's true.
It's a great technology. I mean, we're here together right now because of that technology. So I'm happy that we have it, and I know that conversation is also kind of exhaustive, right? We're in that conversation a lot, but I specifically am feeling a big need to heal a lot of the trauma that I'm feeling with young children, because I'm feeling that they have become even more isolated in their ability to connect with nature, to connect with each other. And I don't know exactly what the root of it is, but this generation right now, I feel like, is even more susceptible to that disconnect than, even the ones right before it.
I agree 100%. In fact, I was just out the other day and I saw this dad. I did a teaching gig somewhere, I won't say, but the dad handed his toddler a phone. He wasn't like on it, like it wasn't open, but just the fact that he was holding the phone, this little tiny baby, I was like, oh my gosh, put a book in his hand instead. But I think this generation of parents have that at their disposal, but
sure.
But
there's an app for everything. So
I know there is an app for everything. So the kids in school, so you're seeing nervous system issues, and is it coming from the parents to the kids? Like, are the parents stressed out and disconnected, and then they're passing that on to the children?
Well,
not to blame the parents, because the parents are doing the best they can in today's society. I'm so glad I'm not a young parent right now, honestly.
Yeah, I mean, anytime like we have a tough day in the classroom, we're like, is it a full moon? Is there a retrograde? What's going on? Right now in St. Louis, we've had a horrific week. We had a terrible, devastating tornado that came through. So I know that's in the atmosphere, unfortunately. So many people have lost homes and security. So there's a lot of nervous system dysregulation going on in the air right now, just in our city. But if you look across globally, there's so many crises going on. I mean, it's increasing the amount of panic and anxiousness. Politically, it's just the divides. It's just our government being dismantled. So many people losing their jobs and not having the security. Of course, children feel that. How can they not feel that? They're sensitive. They're in the sensitive period for refinement of every part of their senses at this time, from 0 to 6 years old. They're developing language. They're developing their auditory systems, their olfactory, the sense of smell, the sense of taste. Everything is super heightened. So of course they're going to feel the stress. They might not hear it directly from the news, but they might hear conversations. They might just feel it energetically. But I'm feeling a lot more of the stress coming off of the children and their inability to just sort of settle down and just relax, take a deep breath. So we do a lot of that work in the classroom. I'll take them out. We'll sit on the earth. We'll put our hands on the earth. We'll exhale into the earth when we need to just ground down. We sing songs with the drum. I mean, I've been doing this work for years, so it's nothing extremely new, with children really needing to learn how to settle down. There was a Native American elder who I loved his advice. And somebody once asked, like, what's your advice for children? How should we teach them to connect? And he said, step on their foot. And I think the wisdom with that is like, it's just like help them be firmly planted like the tree. So definitely the need to learn to just rely on our own ability to self-soothe is good, but that need to connect with your caregiver and to feel a sense of connection is really important from conception all the way through, especially with infants, attachment parenting. I'm a big advocate for that. I mean, just feeling secure coming into this world is huge.
It's huge. And what's the difference between dependency, like having a really healthy relationship with your teachers, with your parents, with your caregivers, versus codependency?
Well, I mean, I'm not, a professional psychiatrist or counselor, so correct me, those of you out there. But my understanding of it is just personally, codependency is more to a point where we are in constant need of others' attention or resources or time so that we can feel secure.
Okay.
And that we don't feel okay unless we have that. Like, so we're not able to just sort of like self-soothe and self-regulate, and we don't have a strong sense of self-worth without having that constant validation. I would call that more of a codependent. But I would think of like dependence to be more like we're dependent on our parents to provide, a home and shelter for us. Safety, we're dependent on our friends and loved ones to provide a shoulder to lean on or to, have a social outlet. It's healthy when we can depend on each other in a way that helps us thrive, in a way that helps us get our basic needs met. I mean, we have to depend on our farmers to grow our food. We have to depend on our systems to work and function, right? Like if the firefighters and the police officers and everybody give up, then everything's going to be chaos. So we are dependent. I mean, whether we like it or not, I mean, we're completely dependent on everything. We're just needing to sort of refine how we look at it, I think, so that we can see it in a way that's like, okay, well, how can I give back? And I've seen so much beautiful dependency in our community here in St. Louis with the response to this natural disaster. At first I was really upset, like, why isn't FEMA on the ground? What's going on? Like, and then just within a matter of like a day, there's so many grassroots organizations coming up, springing up, helping out. It's almost overwhelming. Like, how do I help? Because there's so much help. But that's the beautiful part of, I think, where we're also at, because I feel like we've been pushed to a point where we're like, hey, like we can't depend on something, so let's depend on our community right here. Let's depend on one another. So I feel like people are ready to take it on and get organized and to mobilize more and really step up and help each other out, especially as we start to experience more of these natural disasters that are happening. And it gives me hope.
Yeah, and for people let me put a timestamp on our conversation. So today is May 21st, 2025, and you're in St. Louis, Missouri. I don't know how you guys say it out there. Missouri.
Either one.
And there was a hurricane, so that's what Laurie is talking to.
Tornado.
A tornado.
The hurricanes are down south.
Down south.
On the coast.
Tornado. Yeah. Still scary, but doesn't it?
Very scary.
But it's still like this amazing thing that humans want to help. We're animals. We're social creatures. So we like to be in clans and help each other. It's very natural. And it's almost like we've taken that part of our beautiful nature away. And now maybe through these bad quote unquote events, it really is showing our beautiful humanity and the sacredness of the dependency that we have with each other.
Absolutely. And sometimes I think like, oh, we're not going to help each other until we're forced to. But I don't believe that's entirely true. I mean, I'm involved with different communities. There's a beautiful improvisational music scene and jazz community in St. Louis and around that I see people coming together, playing music together, supporting one another. There's the Montessori communities that I'm involved with, meditation communities. There's so many great community resources out there. And that's just here. And I lived in Santa Cruz, and I know, you guys have it going on the West Coast as far as mobilizing and getting things going on, helping each other out. That was really invigorating when I lived on the West Coast to see how much can get done. So I don't fully believe that we're only going to do it whenever it completely levels out and we're forced to. But for the masses and for the majority, maybe to get us out of our comfort zones and our air conditioned houses and off of our phones, we need a tornado or something to come through to get us out the door and to go and help each other. But at the same time, we're also overworked and overextended, and we have a lot going on to manage. So the other part of what I wanted to talk about with the dependency is like how to self-care so that we don't get to a point of burnout, because then we're not good for anybody else, right?
Yeah,
if we're giving too much.
100%.
So,
let's dive into that, because how can we be great caregivers if we're not being attentive to our own personal needs, whether that's eating really well, resting, taking breaks, plain old not overdoing it, saying no more to certain things.
Yes. Boundaries.
Boundaries. Right. So we're so busy. I feel like there's a pendulum. We've swung to one side, and now we need to come back to balance, homeostasis. So what does that look like for people to de-stress, parents in particular?
I think it looks like making yourself sacred. I mean, being okay with saying no, being okay with telling your children or your family or your loved ones or your community, hey, I need a night off. I need to rest. I can't go and row right now. Can somebody else help paddle, because I need to get a massage or take a nap or do some yoga or cook myself a nice meal or go for a hike, whatever it is to self-care, because there's so many empathic, beautiful people out there that are doing so much of this work. It's amazing, but we're being called to step up so much more and more that my worry is that we will completely fry and burn out if we don't have a very strong self-care practice. So I am really huge into my self-care. And I know there can be a little bit of guilt that comes with that. Like Monday, I felt really guilty for going home and just listening to jazz and chilling out and eating chocolate for an hour and not helping somebody clear trees from their lawn right now because of this tornado. I'm like, I should be over there doing that, but oh my God, I'm so exhausted because of my job, right? And I'm already giving so much. So it's okay. Like, it's okay to chill. It's okay to give yourself a moment and catch your breath. Like, we have to, because if we're constantly in that part of our nervous system that's like, we're in the fight, right? We're in the part of like survival, then like we're not resetting our nervous system, then like we're going to completely fry and burn out, and then we won't be any good for anybody else.
Yeah. So I agree with that. Everything you've said.
Yeah. So just finding those moments, however that routine comes about. For me, I have a very strong daily routine of daily meditation, journaling. I listen to my music, I go for my walks, and I try to connect with my community through music. I love my job, I love my children, but I need something creative that feeds me to a higher purpose. So finding that is so important, so that we're not just stuck in the like, God, what is it all about? Why am I just doing the same thing on the wheel every day? So finding out what that higher calling is to you, and just trying to sort of make room for that and leaving room for hope and not having all the answers, and not going into despair, finding a lot of humor. I love to laugh. I love to make jokes about everything. Like, that's the best way. I find that's the universal language. It's just laughter and connection and comedy. I love comedy. So just trying to find ways to laugh off some of the stress that we're going through collectively, I think is great too. It's great medicine. Yeah.
I think that's great. So parents need to pay attention before they hit the fry button.
Yes, we do.
And have to pay attention to that. There's skyrocketing depression and mental health disorders, not just with the adults. Many adults have mental health episodes every year, but the kids, I think 40%, I know, 40% plus children have some depression every year.
Yeah,
And
that's unfortunate. That's very
I
sad.
know it's so sad. I think we're in a crisis with all of those things of imbalance. Can you, where does, so I'm a nutritionist, and what's the role of the sacredness of meals? And can creating sacred mealtime create
Yeah,
some of that
absolutely.
balance and intention and connection that everyone's craving? And how is the
Yeah,
Montessori,
it always,
what's the
yeah,
Montessori
yeah.
philosophy?
I'm feeling your train of thought here, and I keep going back to early childhood because that's the
Okay.
start, right? That
Right.
birth to 6 years, and that's my profession, that's my experience. So I'm in the nervous system work with the children right now. We don't see depression with 4-year-olds. You just don't see that, but you will see anxiety. You will
Okay.
see emerging autism, emerging ADD, things like that.
Right.
But later on in adolescence, in these other planes of development, you'll start to see these more disorders coming up. So if we can care for our nervous systems, especially children at this vital age, by prioritizing routine, prioritizing mealtime, prepping meals together, joining together as a family. I'm a single mom, so I just have my 2 girls half of the time, but I'm still like, we got to sit down and have our meals and have no phones at the table just for this moment, you know?
Yes. I like the no phones at the
It's,
table. Even with your girlfriends, if you go out
yeah,
for dinner with your
of
friends, I'm like,
course.
don't put the phones out.
Yeah.
I hate that.
Yeah, we
I
can
do.
leave them. We can leave them. So just, yeah, just having some boundaries with your children, getting them involved with cooking. It might not be that they're able to cook a full-on organic 5-course meal right away, but they might like to make some healthy cookies or something, or make a salad. In our Montessori curriculum, we have food prep out all the time, so children have access to fresh, healthy vegetables all throughout the day. They can cut peppers, cucumbers. They love it. They can cut apples, juice oranges. It's such a big part of their work cycle. They depend on each other to help that process and that cycle as well, as far as like, oh, well, somebody needs to take the compost to the garden, and then, you know, the flowers will come, and then, you know, hopefully the ideal is that we can grow some of our own vegetables and whatnot one day as well. Love that about where you're at and your seasons of growth and on the West Coast. But really just learning, trying to connect the dots, I think, is the main thing with children. Not just making it about like this moment and this activity right now. Like, well, where did this food come from? And like, what happens to it after we eat it? Or where did these scraps go? Or how could we repurpose some of this waste? And just having them see like a full cycle. I think our cycles in life are key to like sort of helping us learn to heal that part of our nervous systems, because we're all connected, right? We're all connected to the plants and animals and trees and nature. So, oh, okay, well, this will go back to the earth and it will grow more food. Or this peppermint leaves that were harvested, we can now dry them and we can grind them and we can make tea out of them. And it's a simple little routine, but it really goes a long way. And naming plants, learning about animals, just finding more activities that you can do that are just getting out there and enjoying nature, enjoying life with your children and with your friends or loved ones, community, I think is part of that as well. Really just 5 minutes with your shoes off, standing on the grass can make such a big difference in your nervous system as well. Sitting on the ground, singing, chanting, playing a drum, doing some yoga on a yoga mat on the ground, anything you can do to just really like get them out and settle down is going to make a big difference for sure.
And there's this organization called the World Happiness Report. And they do find that kids are like feeling lack of connection and all the stress that you're talking about. And I think these are the perfect ways to reconnect to nature. And we're animals. So turning the lights down at dusk and being in sync with the seasons can also really help. Like during the winter, we overextend ourselves, right? We're constantly going to parties, and that causes burnout. Then you start the new year kind of stressed already. So I like to teach parents and encourage them to kind of tune into the seasons, at least here in North America, where we do have seasons. It's really important.
I mean, we talk about these things, but I like to also acknowledge, like, as a parent, as a working parent, like, it's hard. I mean, and we are called to do a lot and to step up a lot and to go to different events and be easy on yourself. Like, it's okay. Like, it's not 100% all the time. Just notice, like, hey, like, I'm a little bit off. Like, what can I do to kind of like chill out a little bit more, go to bed a little bit earlier, or to maybe say no to one more event this week.
Yeah. And that
sometimes just having a little bit more boundaries really protects our peace as well. And teaching children that, like, we don't have to have them in 5 different extracurricular events a week. Like, we can just choose one.
I like that.
Just learn, like, then you can rotate, you can change as you go along. But we're competitive and we want to keep up and we have FOMO and, you know, we don't want to miss out on anything. I get it. And I don't either. I'm like, I want to go to this and this and that. You know? So I'm trying to like teach myself the same thing, right? All the time. I'm humbling myself. But it is important. It is so important to like just nurture rest and reset your nervous system as you go along. And then you'll have a bigger capacity as those days get longer and the sun is burning brighter throughout the day to go out and do more picnics and fun events and things. So, the seasons are there for a reason to teach us that, right?
Right. I love that. And so we're going to take a short commercial break. And when we get back, let's talk more about how we can rely on our community for that cool dependency you're talking about. I love that concept so much.
Great. Thank you.
All right. So we'll be right back, folks.
Well, we install leak-proof and fire-proof roofs. Roofs that look nice with a lot of choices of colors and styles. We only install proven products with warranties unmatched by anybody. Financing is always available, and we have discounts for veterans and seniors. Do business with Knox Roofing, and you'll also receive a free Knox Garden Box. The number to call again is 831-461-0634. Thanks, folks.
Charlie Hong Kong is here to nourish you with our healthy noodle and rice bowls, abundant with local organic produce grown in nutrient-dense soil, as well as soups, sandwiches, salads, and our special ginger lemonade. All are welcome to enjoy our patio or to go. Order in person or online, corner of Soquel and Seabright. Charlie Hong Kong, nourishing our community one bowl at a time.
For ag and industrial real estate, call Chuck Allen. Chuck Allen is a lifelong resident of the Pajaro Valley, a friend of everybody, and has closed so many real estate transactions, the Wall Street Journal and Keller Williams both list him as one of the nation's top producers. So for ag and industrial real estate, call the top realtor, Chuck Allen, at chuckallenproperties.com. chuckallenproperties.com.
Treehouse dispenses not only the finest cannabis products, but information to those who want to know how to use cannabis for maximum benefit. Hello, I'm Jenna. If you would like to know how best to use cannabis, ask your friends and neighbors at Treehouse Dispensary, 3651 Soquel Drive. If you're 21 plus with a valid ID, no appointment is necessary and the information is free. Order online at ourtreehouse.io and pick up at our drive-thru. See you soon.
Okay, folks. Hello. We are back. I'm Jill Troderman with Feeding the Family, and I have with me today Laurie Orso, a Montessori school teacher, and we're talking about the absolute need to have healthy dependency on our families, dependency on our friends, and especially also with our children and the community at large. So welcome back, Laurie.
Thank you. Yeah, I heard that commercial for Charlie Hong Kong, and it made me really hungry. I love that stuff.
Okay, I pretty much cook almost all my meals by myself or with whomever, but I got Charlie Hong Kong's today, and I have to say it was so good.
Oh, my God. I love it. I mean, we were there in March, so that was one of the places I had to hit for the Spicy Dan, right? The peanut sauce noodle bowl. So
yeah, that's so good.
And I love what they're doing too. It's just the full cycles that we were talking about and just connecting, engaging the community. And so love seeing spots like that and more and more places like that popping up in St. Louis as well. So I know like that's really kind of an aim that we want to see happening more on a national level. These little kind of grassroots kind of sustainable restaurants like that. So great.
Right. And they use organic produce. And then the restaurant across the street is a Mexican place, and that uses organic produce as well.
Right.
And I think that's, again, part of our dependency. Like, we are dependent, most all of us in the United States, on farms, family farms, big commercial farms, and how wonderful that more hopefully are becoming organic. I think I'm a big advocate of that, of course. So,
absolutely.
So with regarding food and community, a long time ago, and even today in certain countries, most people have all of their meals with other people. They're constantly engaging with breakfast, lunches, and dinners with their family and community members. But here in the United States, the trend is almost opposite, where only 1 in 4 Americans report eating all of their meals alone. And it's increasing, by 53% since 2003. So dining alone has become really way more prevalent in every age group, but especially in young people. So that's, I know, that's kind of a thing, because
I didn't realize with young people as much. Is this
like maybe college
people?
Yeah, I'm thinking college age, and maybe in your 20s before marriage. Because think about it. People, the young adults, are dating less. They're getting married at a later age. Maybe they're not even having children. And so that's often when we're having meals with people. So I thought that was just an interesting statistic on how important that is. I was actually thinking, and if anyone's out there listening, I live on a big road that connects one part of our county to the next.
I love your house. I want to come.
I know.
It's so beautiful. I would eat dinner with you every night if I could.
Right?
I mean, I have a lot of meals on my own as well, being a single parent and having time off. And part of that is good at times.
Sure.
I had moments of sadness with it. I actually made up a funny little skit, like it's my lonely burrito night. So I kind of made it like, instead of my sob story, this is my lonely burrito. I get to like have whatever I want and do my, my girls' night in on my own. So kind of flipping that. Sometimes it's actually probably good to eat on your own, just as far as like relaxing and resetting your nervous system.
Right.
But I agree. There's so many times that there's so many people that are just, you don't have the joy in meal prep, I don't think, when you're by yourself. I don't really care as much when I'm by myself what I'm eating. I tried to get a lot better about that in the last few years of single parenting. I'm like, okay, I need to really treat myself just as well as I would treat my children or a partner or community. Like, I'm going to get that salmon and marinate it and make my rice and, like steam the broccoli. So I do a lot of that too. So even if you are on your own, like, you can really self-care and like treat yourself really well and make that part of your self-care practice. So that's one side of looking at, that dependency as well. Is like, well, we might not have somebody to invite over or have a potluck to go to, but we can still treat this in a healthy way. We can still make this sacred, right? And important and nourishing to our bodies. So,
I just wanted to share something real quick on that. When I was a young parent, I have some really fun girlfriends here in Santa Cruz, and one in particular, Susan, she insisted we all get together and make meals together. And what we did, and I encourage parents to do this, it was such a blast, and you can have some adult beverages or not, whatever. But so each person would make 4 of the same dish. So let's say there was 4 of us gals getting together. So we would, let's say I was making lasagna and somebody else was making bean soup. So we would all come together, bring all of our ingredients. We would all make 4 of the same dish, or I would make 1 and they would, and then at the end of the night, we would all go home with 4 unique meals that we could freeze or eat with our family.
I love that.
So it kind of hits 2 things, right? You're getting really good nutritious food. You're hanging out with your peeps. So that's a good healthy dependency on how we can support each other as community and get help. We don't have to do all of these things all by ourselves all of the time.
No, absolutely not. And I know there's a really great farm initiative here in St. Louis. I think it's I'm not sure if it's in Winsfield or where exactly. It's called Lucky Dog Farm, and they do meal prep gatherings on Sundays sometimes, like fresh farm to like jars, and just like getting the community together and involved in like, oh, how can we prep this beautiful salad that you can eat throughout the week? So there's stuff like that going on that if you look, you can find it. But also just your own community, like a couple of my best girlfriends and I will get together with our kids. We used to try to do it once a week, but now like we've gotten busier. So it's like maybe once a month, but we'll have our little gathering and we'll each bring something to contribute. So those potlucks, those little gatherings between your friends, if you don't have family. I don't have family here in St. Louis. When I did live in Alabama, I had so much family. It was just out of control. Like I was always at my grandpa's on a Sunday having pie and drinking coffee and chilling out, and so much family to visit. Growing up, that's just the way it was. Our family was everything. I mean, we had so many gatherings with our family. And unfortunately, I think a lot of us have lost some of that tie to family as we've diversified and moved across country and become more isolated from family. We've lost those connections, and it is sad because I do miss those times of just, having cousins as a kid, and that my children haven't had as much time with family. They have a little bit of family here in the area, but just how important it is to have long days of picnics and gatherings and just time that's just at ease and flowing in and out. I'm so jealous of my European friends for getting to have a lot of this, these moments where they have these long lunch breaks in the middle of the day where they can go and enjoy, like in Italy and places like that.
Right.
But I know our American culture isn't going to promote that anytime soon, but no. I think it should. I think we should.
I think so too, Laurie. In fact, I have a family member. I won't throw that person under the bus, but this person works at, it was a very small company, and now they were bought up by a big company, and the vacation time was really decreased back to like a normal American 2 weeks a year. And this person was like, what's that about? Like, they really loved having those ski days or golf days. The boss encouraged it. And the boss found that that's like a full-blown happiness factor for his employees. So when people have that downtime, I'm actually giving myself the chills thinking about that, because that is why we're here on Earth, is to relax and enjoy Earth and our experience here. So I hope my
Absolutely, 100. I mean, as a teacher, I mean, it is intense when we're on, but we have a lot of time. And I have the summer coming up. I have months coming up ahead where I can just have these long days.
Totally.
And hang out with my kids and friends and sit by the pool and do different travel and different things.
Yeah.
We have weeks off throughout the school year. So I do feel really nurtured. I love my school, Chesterfield Mall.
And that's great that you make time.
So,
and you're teaching your girls that. Like, you're such a great role model for your two adolescent kids, because they see Mama Bear hanging out with all your great friends and traveling. And I think you're doing a great job.
Yeah, thank you. I appreciate that. Yeah, there's moments where I'm like, I can't do it all. But I grew up with a little bit of hearing that, like, I'm overwhelmed. I can't handle it. I can't hold, from my mom and like my grandmother. But they were also really independent women, but they were also kind of like a little bit on the codependency aspect. It was interesting. Like I need a man, but I don't need a man, So,
I know.
So there's a little bit of like,
That's so funny.
A little bit of confusion with growing up with like, how independent should we be and how dependent do we need to be? But for sure, like, I mean, you can thrive no matter where you're at in life. No matter how much money you make, I think there's a way to find happiness, to find a connection. I know there's a lot of suffering, and I want to really speak to that. And there's a lot of loss out there. But I do really feel that, like, there's always, like, a silver lining. I don't like to bypass suffering. I think we need to hold space for it. Like, let's not just, like, be an all-gooder, Let's hold a moment, and like, yeah, that really sucks, or that's tragic. Yeah, like, let's feel that for a minute. But at the same time, like, now what? Like, how can we work towards like rebuilding and like work towards like sustainable solutions into the future as we're going through this great big dismantling process that we're going through. So just kind of encourage everybody to hold the faith and kind of keep looking for those small little miracles one little thing that I saw during the storm, the big storms that we just had, was an image of two little hummingbirds hiding out in the middle of a rose. And it was so sweet, because I'm always worried about nature. Like, what happens to the birds and everything whenever there's a tornado or a giant hurricane or something, like, how do they all survive? And to see this image of these little hummingbirds just like cuddling together and chirping around and inside of a tiny little rose, right? Like,
Aww, how precious. So they found each other. They helped each other out.
They found each other. Yeah. So, like looking for humor, obviously, but like little small miracles, little things that keep you positive, keep you going, keep you thriving. That's really what we have to do. It's what it's all about. And sharing that joy, sharing that love, however you want to do it. Like, use social media if you can, but also get out there. Don't just sit on your phone. Like, get out there, get involved, hang out with people, whatever it is, with music or art or community efforts. Just try to go see people. Don't sit around, because you'll be surprised. Like, people are feeling the same way. Like, they don't want to be isolated either.
Right.
And so it's beautiful to see that people really do want to try to connect.
Absolutely. And people, I think, have a lot of pride, and sometimes people are embarrassed or ashamed that, hey, I'm having a hard time here. And our society, that's where that independence comes in that you were talking about, like the difference between dependency and independency. So we get in our American mind, like, I can do it, I'm going to tough it out. But that can lead to sometimes tragic occurrences. There was an article in our local paper in the Good Times, and apparently this gorgeous, beautiful, happy surfer man took his life. And people were flabbergasted, like, what? He was the jolly man. He was the kind one. Everyone loved him. He always looked happy on the outside. And, that just bums me out that we get to that. Some people get to that place. That they're going to check out, as opposed to reaching out their hand, like, hey, I need someone right now. We have that shame about that.
So hard. It's one of the hardest for me too. I mean, like, just to be vulnerable and be like, hey, like, I'm having a hard time, or I cried the other night, driving home because I feel alone, like being able to like be okay with being vulnerable is such a strength. And I mean, I love Brene Brown's work for that, like just the emotional intelligence on all the emotions that we have, shame, vulnerability, all, like get woke on it. I mean, it's time. Like, we all need to understand our emotions. We need to help each other out with them. It's okay to speak up. If somebody shuts a door or can't listen to you, then they're not right for your life anyway.
Right.
And the right people will come around, the people that want to encourage you and want to see you, and will be okay to hear that, hey, I'm struggling today or whatever.
Yeah. Choose your friends wisely, right?
Yeah, absolutely. And I mean, and I'm like a super strong person too. And I tend to really like be able to see that silver lining and be positive. But honestly, in the last week, I've been feeling extremely discouraged, just with like natural disasters and like politically what's going, like, it's just so much. It's just like, it's culminating. It's making me feel like, oh my God, like, is it really going to be okay?
Yeah.
Like, and just needing to hear that from somebody, like, you've got this.
It's going to be okay. You're going to be okay, Laurie. I'm always here for you.
Thank you.
I'm just a phone call away, and you can always crash at my place.
Love it. Yeah, I'm coming. Like, I know. I'm down.
I'll extend the invitation.
Just like encouraging each other, even if like we're not totally sure if it's going to be okay. Just like sometimes hearing those words, really it's just being affirmed, like is 100, like sometimes just what we need, like just to be able to take that next leap of faith and like move through this next transition that we're being called for. So thank you so much for having me today, because like I really feel like it brought me up, it leveled me up, because I've been in the work so much with the children, and I've kind of like had my nose down to the grindstone. I've been like in the classroom and like doing this, and not that I need anybody to see that, like for my ego or whatever, but sometimes I'm like, hey, can anybody notice here? Like, this is a lot. And these billionaires out there and these bankers, and everybody's making all this money, but like teachers, like we're not, like we're doing the work, like these, service providers, like, the working class, like we're here, we're showing up every day to keep this thing going. So, I appreciate the respect, and I appreciate the opportunity to, be respected enough to like get to come on here and speak up for all the teachers and all the caregivers and everybody in the world that's really, trying to make these small differences
Yes.
in the lives of children and the lives of individuals that, hopefully will, make a better planet or a better community, at least, right where we're at. So
you are. And it's true. You are unsung heroes, right? People don't get those credits on the TV about all the, the things that you're doing for the kids. It is a selfless job, honestly, working at the Montessori. Another thing that you like to use, and I've been watching your journey with meditation and going to India and all that, which is beautiful, having a spiritual practice. Also, Laurie, I know you're really into music.
Yeah.
How does music help, calm the nerves, and how is that for the kids? You play drums with them at the school, and that's like a way to connect to their heartbeat, to themselves, have a little dance session.
The drum is definitely that universal rhythm that does really, like, as soon as I get a hoop drum out and I start playing it, they're quiet no matter what's happening. Like they just pause and they freeze and their attention's all right there. I mean, it's the center of the wheel. It's the center of the circle. So I do love the drumming. And that's a tool that I use in the classroom. For myself personally, I'm really into spiritual jazz, free jazz, music like that has really changed my life, as far as like just how it can really, it's so emotive. Like it just brings me to the next place in my consciousness. It's expanded my mind a lot. I could talk a lot about it on maybe a different episode sometime.
Sure.
But,
you can always come back.
attending events where my friends are experimenting with music and nobody's rehearsing anything. Nobody's telling anybody what to play. They're just like coming together and energetically playing together. I've had a couple opportunities where I could sit in with people and play on my harmonium a little bit and play on my drum. And I'm not a professional musician by any means, but I am a very intuitive person and creative person. So finding a community where you can get involved with music is really special, especially if you can get involved with improv. And just listening to music. I mean, there's a lot of really great music out there. So whatever speaks to you and whatever moves you and brings you to that next place and clears your mind, go for it. But this is what works for me. So I've been using that. I go on long walks listening to the music. I'm really have been blessed to learn a lot about it through different friends. So I'm really grateful for all that I've been receiving with that, for sure.
That's so cool. I love that coming together, because that's another way we can depend on each other through music and having that cosmic experience. They do the
absolutely. So all my friends out there, you guys, you have to keep playing.
Keep
depending on you.
We have a crazy live music scene here in Santa Cruz, so I have FOMO almost every night. Like, oh my God,
so
there's 10 bands. What? I just missed that. Great band. So
it's so great.
There's always another night, and thank God, because that really does keep me happy, is going to see live music, and I get to see all my friends and my peeps out there. So music for sure is a wonderful tool. So Laurie, so you work at the Montessori school. Is that a charter school or is that a private school?
It's private. We're nonprofit. We've been there since the 80s, and we're in Chesterfield, Missouri. And we have toddler communities, primary communities, lower elementary, upper elementary, and we're restarting our adolescent program. So, anybody out there listening in the St. Louis area, a lot of our parents are probably tuning in today. So
I love that.
Oh my gosh. All of them. So, yeah.
My kids went to Montessori a bit here and there, and I taught at the...
I remember your kids.
Yeah.
You have great kids. I love them.
Thank you.
I was your nanny, remember?
I do.
For a little bit.
Yeah. I loved you being my nanny, our nanny. And let's see. So the Montessori school has a fascinating philosophy, because at one, we're talking about dependency and independence. They put those two perfectly together. So the Montessori school, they encourage the independent mind to do your reading and your letter tracing and all that kind of stuff. But then there's a great community sense too. So isn't that like the perfect balance for humans, to be dependent on each other, but also have that connection to ourselves?
Absolutely. And our 3-year cycles are so sacred in our Montessori classroom. So I'm a primary guide. So I get children in from age 3 to 6.
Okay.
So a lot of people don't understand, like, why don't you just have 3-year-olds or 4-year-olds or kindergartners? But having the older children in there to help out and show the younger children and be leaders is
Right.
so important for them. It's important for their self-esteem, but it's also important for the younger children to have those role models because they can see how to treat the environment, how to treat the classroom. And likewise, I mean, it helps the dependency on one another to have a cycle of learning, a cycle of growth. To come in as a 3-year-old and to be able to culminate. Right now, we're about to graduate 8 kindergartners next week. I'm so excited.
Cute.
I'm so proud of all of them. Yeah, they've done amazingly. And they're culminating right now with all these really amazing lessons that they started out as 3-year-olds tracing sandpaper letters and chopping apples, but now they can write about anything that they want and do long division with racks and tubes and care for the garden and be able to walk out independently out of the classroom and take on leadership roles. And they're moving into that, what we call second plane of development as they emerge out of our primary environment. So it's really an honor to get to be part of this work and to get to see the cycles throughout the years and to know that there's children out there that were in my classroom years ago that are adults now. And just the beauty in that, that there are educational approaches that nourish the whole child, that sees the whole child with respect, because we all are the child. I mean, we all are vulnerable children, really deep down. And like, if we haven't been seen on those deeper levels, then there's still that healing, I think, that's always going to need to be addressed. So being able to see the child right away and like work through those layers from the beginning, I think is some really amazing and special work. So really glad that I found that. It's really gone hand in hand with my spiritual practice that I picked up in India. In fact, Maria Montessori, she lived in India for a long time. During World War II, she was over there. So I do feel there's a really strong spiritual aspect to Montessori. So that's been a beautiful process for me. Absolutely.
So sweet. Well, this was such a fascinating conversation. I love it. We got to talk about, how important all of these different aspects of our life are, being dependent on each other, whether it's our family, cooking meals together, drumming, sitting in the park on lazy Sunday afternoons, and really taking the time to nurture that. We deserve it as humans. And we have to do it ourselves because society is not going to let us do it. So if we all make the time for ourselves to heal and nurture ourselves, we can give back to our society and we'll just be more strong and awesome for that, right? So thank you for being here.
Thank you so much for having me. This is so fun.
All right. Well, this concludes our show. And I just wanted to share with everybody that, again, I'm Jill Troderman, Santa Cruz Holistic Nutrition.com. Call me up for counseling. I teach classes. I do webinars. I have a plant propagation class coming up May 31st in Santa Cruz. Check out my website. I have a bunch of other classes coming up like fermentation and some other neat things. So check out my website. And with that, Laurie, have a wonderful day. And thank you for being here.
You too.
Okay.
Absolutely.
All right. Lots of love to you and we'll talk soon.
You too.
Okay. Bye-bye.
Enjoy.
You too.
Bye.
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 Bye-bye.